Today's story follows a young woman who hides her bruises behind sunglasses, walks through the winter in thin sneakers, and carries secrets that could shake an entire company. But one night, a single decision turns her entire world upside down and exposes a web of lies she never expected to uncover. Let's break down this intense K-drama tale. In a world where most 20-year-olds chase dreams, friendships, and bright futures, one young woman named Jian is simply trying to survive another day. At an age when her life should feel as fresh as spring, she instead carries quiet sorrow that most people would never notice. Every morning, Jian walks into her office with bruises hidden beneath sunglasses. No one asks where they came from. No one wonders why she never smiles. In winter, when temperatures drop below freezing, she walks through the icy streets wearing nothing more than thin sneakers and old socks. Her body shivers, but she keeps moving because stopping is a luxury she cannot afford. At work, she barely speaks. If not for her tasks, her colleagues might never even notice she exists. But Jian is not cold. She is simply carrying burdens far heavier than anyone around her realizes. Once her office shift ends, she quietly moves to her second job. She works at a restaurant, picking up dishes, wiping tables, and collecting leftovers. And on nights when customers leave food untouched, she secretly packs a small portion into a bag. That becomes her dinner. When her long day finally ends, she rides the subway with blank eyes and tired feet. She passes bright lights and cheerful crowds, but none of it belongs to her world. Then she turns into a dark alley, the path that leads to her small room, barely 20 square meters. Her home is cold, dim, and silent, yet it is the only place where she can breathe. Inside, she does not dare switch on the main light. Instead, she sits on the floor with a cup of instant coffee she brought from the office and the leftovers from the restaurant. As she eats her first meal of the entire day, exhaustion settles into her bones. But before she can rest, a sudden bright light flashes behind her. A man steps into the room. He is her creditor, the person she owes money to. He speaks in a harsh tone, reminding her she still has unpaid balances. As always, Jian silently hands over a small amount, never daring to look him in the eyes. This isn't their first encounter, and he knows exactly how powerless she is. Before leaving, he warns her that her remaining payments are overdue. And then another phone call arrives, from the nursing home where her grandmother lives. Jian's grandmother has been bedridden and fully dependent on others for years. The nursing home has allowed them to stay despite unpaid fees, but now the staff insists the balance must be cleared immediately. Otherwise, her grandmother will be forced to leave. Hearing this breaks Jian, but she cannot show it. She holds the phone quietly, whispering apologies she no longer has the strength to hide. Her grandmother, however, tries to protect her. She gently urges Jian not to visit, afraid the staff will pressure her granddaughter for money she does not have. Unable to endure the situation any longer, Jian calls an old childhood friend for help. But his friend, busy playing games, shrugs her off, offering no support. With no one else to turn to, Jian makes a painful decision. Late at night, when everyone is asleep, Jian sneaks into the nursing home and slowly pushes her grandmother's wheelchair out into the cold night air. Her grandmother should be freezing, but in that moment, she feels only warmth. Her granddaughter, despite everything, refuses to abandon her. Jian pushes the chair for miles, alone under the moonlight. The night is silent except for the wheels rolling across the pavement. They stop at a convenience store. Jian buys 2 bottles of hot drinks and places them in her grandmother's hands, wrapping her in a blanket to keep the cold away. She then collapses next to her, asleep from exhaustion. Hours later, the childhood friend finally shows up and helps them take the grandmother back home. Jian asks him to watch her for a few days because she desperately needs to find a way to earn more money. With no time for a meal, Jian survives on instant coffee once again. She is only 20, yet the burden she carries could crush someone twice her age. Her small room feels darker than ever. The next morning, she goes to buy groceries for her grandmother. But when she reaches the cashier, she realizes she does not have enough money to pay. She quietly says she will return the amount later, embarrassed but helpless. A kind older coworker happens to witness the scene. After seeing Jian leave, he secretly pays for the items and tries to hand them to her. But by the time he reaches the alley, Jian is already gone. Instead, he encounters something else, her creditor. The man tries to break into Jian's home, thinking she might be inside. Without hesitation, Jian returns and steps between them, trying to protect her grandmother. The result: the creditor physically harms her again. "You'll never repay your debts," he says coldly. "You'll always suffer because of me." But Jian does not fight back. She wipes her injuries with a tissue, helps her grandmother sleep peacefully, and silently continues her routine. The next day at work, she hides her bruises behind sunglasses again. Ironically, it is the first time her co-workers even notice her. Meanwhile, the same older co-worker receives a mysterious package at the office. Inside is a huge stack of money, far more than he could explain. Panicked, he hides the cash in his drawer. What he doesn't realize is that Jian saw everything. Later, Jian approaches him, asking him to buy her dinner. He agrees immediately, terrified she might expose what he did. At the restaurant, the dim lights reveal the bruises beneath her sunglasses. The man assumes she has been hurt by someone close to her and awkwardly suggests she break ties with whoever mistreated her. Jian stays silent. But this quiet dinner marks the beginning of a dangerous chain of events neither of them is prepared for. When the older co-worker returned to the office that night, he made a startling discovery. The elevator was finally repaired, which meant the building's surveillance system was fully operational again. As he walked past the control room, he realized countless cameras had been recording the entire floor. His heart dropped. If anyone reviewed the footage and found out about the mysterious money inside his drawer, everything in his life, including his career, would collapse. But when he rushed back to check, something even stranger happened. The drawer was empty. The stack of cash he hid so carefully had simply vanished. His first suspicion: Jian. After all, she was the only one who might have seen him. And suddenly, her request from earlier, asking him to buy her a meal, looked more suspicious than ever. But what the man did not know was this: Jian had already figured out the truth behind the money. It wasn't a reward. It wasn't a bonus. It was bribery money, sent to frame someone else in the company. The co-worker had accidentally received it, and in his fear, made the worst possible decision. He kept it. Knowing this could ruin several lives, Jian waited until the office was empty, then quietly entered the 8th floor. She disconnected certain parts of the building's electrical system, ensuring there would be no immediate surveillance playback. Then she retrieved the cash, knowing the co-worker could never report it missing. With the money in her hands, she made a desperate choice. She took it straight to her creditor. But the creditor, suspicious by nature, sensed something was wrong. He questioned where such a large amount came from. When Jian stayed silent, he concluded the money must have been gained improperly. His group decided they would take the cash first, then report Jian later, hoping to trap her permanently. But Jian refused to let that happen. As the tension escalated, she noticed the creditor holding her bag, attempting to search it. She grabbed it back and ran. Downstairs, she spotted a delivery truck next to the creditor's car. Acting on instinct, she pushed several heavy boxes toward the vehicle, triggering an alarm. The noise startled the creditor's group long enough for Jian to snatch her bag and escape. She immediately called her childhood friend again and begged him to bring her grandmother home safely. While all this unfolded, the co-worker, the same man who had unknowingly accepted the bribery money, began panicking. He tried to contact Jian, but no one in the office even knew her phone number. At the same time, the company's supervision department received an anonymous report email regarding misconduct. Surveillance review accidentally pointed to the co-worker. Investigators rushed to escort him away for questioning. And just as he stepped out of the elevator, utterly terrified, he found himself face to face with Jian. He tried to talk to her to explain to seek help, but Jian walked past him without a single word. Meanwhile, deeper truths began surfacing. The co-worker had a wife named Xiulian, admired for her gentle personality and elegant appearance. But what he didn't know was that Xiulian had been secretly meeting an old college classmate, Ingzi, who also happened to be the co-worker's direct superior at the company. For a full year, Xiulian had used business trips as an excuse to meet Ingzi at luxury hotels. Their relationship, hidden behind polite smiles, was complicated and private. Ingzi had long wanted to remove the co-worker from his position. When 50 million won in bribery funds were mistakenly delivered under a name similar to his, she intended to use it as an opportunity to eliminate him professionally. But the money had fallen into the wrong hands, into the co-worker's drawer. Now the entire company was spiraling into chaos. Back in the office, Jian found investigators packing up the co-workers' belongings. Worried that they might discover the bribery cash on her, she quickly disguised the wallet by wrapping it in newspaper and tossing it discreetly into the trash. She then told the cleaning staff to inform the supervision department that they found it. Her goal was simple: delay the discovery long enough for the truth to surface. When the money finally reached the investigators, they didn't announce it immediately. They wanted to let the co-workers' situation worsen first. Later that evening, as Jian boarded the subway, the co-worker chased her down, begging for answers. She calmly told him that the money he was looking for had been thrown away. But before he could say more, the subway doors closed, leaving him alone on the platform in despair. The next day, another layer of truth unfolded. Piao Changgu, one of the company's powerful figures, confronted the co-worker, asking why he had thrown away such a large sum of money. When the co-worker explained that he believed he was being framed, Changgu realized something important. The person who stood to benefit the most was Ingzi. Later, Changgu and Ingzi crossed paths in the elevator. At that moment, Ingzi's private phone, used only to contact Shulian, began vibrating. He froze, terrified of exposing himself. He couldn't answer it in front of Changgu. Sensing danger, Jian stepped in. She calmly reached into her pocket, pretended the phone was hers, and hung up the call. Then she slid the device discreetly back into Ingzi's hand. It was a subtle but heroic gesture, one that saved Ingzi from immediate exposure. But when Jian later saw the co-worker's phone, she noticed Shulian's number on the caller ID. Something clicked in her memory. She had seen that number before. She opened Ingzi's private phone and checked the contact list. The truth stunned her. The same number belonged to Shulian, the co-worker's wife. Suddenly the pieces fit together. Ingzi was secretly meeting the co-worker's wife. The co-worker himself had no idea. And Jian, who had suffered alone for so long, looked at him not with judgment but with unexpected sympathy. In his own way, he was just as lost as she was. After work, Jian returned the phone to Ingzi and calmly revealed what she had discovered. Ingzi tried to explain, saying Shulian was simply a college friend, but Jian pressed further. Then she made an offer, cold, bold, and shocking. She told Ingzi she could help remove both the co-worker and Piao Changgu from the company. And for this favor, she asked for 10 million won per person. Her life had pushed her into darkness for years. But at this moment, Jian took her first step into a world where she wasn't just a victim. She was someone capable of turning the entire game around.